Hi, I'm your host, Barbie Romero, the Director of Event Programming at MediaPost. Welcome to our Brand Insider Series Backstage exclusive. This is your chance to ask our past brand insiders what's on your mind. Today, our spotlight is on Tara Branigan, Senior Director, Head of U.S. Co-Brand Acquisitions and Loyalty Strategy from Hilton. Welcome, Tara.
Hi, Barbie. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming on the show. I have a lot of great memories at Hilton, so I was like, let's try to get you on and get our LinkedIn followers and also other brand insiders to ask you some great questions. And the first question we have here, actually, you partnered with a lot of my favorite brands, so I selfishly put this one in. So you launched partnerships with Peloton, Calm, and AutoCamp. How do you decide which brands to partner with? Peloton was such a great partnership you guys did. You could just ride the bike when you're at the hotel. It's such a great partnership.
Oh, I love that. I love that you have great memories too about our stays. It means we're doing our job right, and just glad to hear that. I have really enjoyed being able to be in a role working on partnerships, and the way I approach them and the way we approach them as a company is simple. Just make sure that you have what you're trying to achieve in mind. I think it's sometimes exciting if you have a brand that you're personally have an affinity towards wanting to work with them, but taking a step back and thinking about, first of all, who is your customer at the company, the brand you're working for. And this partnership really should be for them and answering a need that they have. And then the second thing would be, what are we trying to achieve for our company as a whole? And does working with this brand, this partner, help us achieve that together? So you mentioned Peloton, and that's a good example of having an insight about our guests and what they do and what they want when they are traveling and on the road. And people have an affinity to their own personal wellness routine, don't want that to be disruptive when they're traveling either for, work or even if they're on vacation. So the partnership with Peloton made a lot of sense because it allowed our guests to keep up with their routine while they were traveling. The other thing that was really great about that is we had the widest network of Pelotons across all of our competition. So the guests could have confidence that no matter where they went, they would find a Peloton. And so that also created a preference for our brand achieving some of our brand strategies.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely helpful when you're not home and you have gym equipment that you're used to basically when you're traveling. So, but
Right,
that's
can't carry your bike with you.
yeah,
You don't
not
even
yet.
need the sneakers actually, because the clip-ons we have can just use regular sneakers. So, it's just pack your workout gear, you're good to go.
Yeah, yeah, that's great. So how do you structure a partnership so it feels authentic to younger audiences? A lot of brands, they're looking for the next consumer, the future generation.
Yeah, I think AutoCamp is a really good example where we worked with a brand that already had a good tie to younger audiences and a great reputation. And we partnered with them to really amplify that awareness and bring more people to AutoCamp across the age spectrum, but certainly younger guests who are seeking out more adventure, experiential travel. And so maybe they know of Hilton because that's where they stayed when they were traveling with family growing up, but they look at our brands and they're looking for something that is experience oriented and didn't see anything that we currently offered. So it's a great partnership that allows people who know our brand and trust our brand but are seeking some new ways of traveling to be able to do that. And we did that in an authentic way with the younger audience because it's tapping again into the insight of what they want when they travel and where they're looking to travel, and then partnering with a brand who understands that space, understands that guest, and then coming into market with AutoCamp, knowing where younger consumers are, how they're deciding and where they're finding information about where to travel. So we went a very social first approach with them and created a lot of more social oriented content, knowing that's where that consumer is and that's where they're already looking for inspiration.
So a lot of brands, when they do partnerships, they'll cross promote because they want to reach new audiences. So when you bring a new partner on, how do you think about that? How do you reach new audiences?
Yeah, so it's going back to the strategy, and then with reaching new audiences, may seem obvious, but we want to understand who our partners' audience is, talk with them about um, demographics, but also understanding what they value, what they're seeking,
Hmm.
and then making sure that those values intersect with what Hilton can provide. So I think when we look at other partnerships and how we reach those other audiences, we want to make sure that we are bringing something to the table that makes the combination that much more powerful. And the things that Hilton brings to the table are certainly a reputation of a very reliable and friendly stay, and knowing no matter where you go, that's what you're going to get. Also, the fact that we have a really wide network and we have a lot of options between our various brands. And then lastly, we have a wonderful loyalty program that allows us to provide guests with even more benefit when they decide to travel with us, whether that's points or an upgraded experience. And so, want to make sure that those are things that the partner doesn't really have or want to grow. And so that we can bring that to the table, and that they can bring to the table, whatever we are trying to achieve, if it's new audiences, demographics, and behaviors that we don't currently have within our existing home customer set.
Yeah, yeah, that's great. All right, so let's switch gears a little bit. The next person asked about advice. In between trips, travel brands, they want to stay relevant. Do you have any advice on how travel marketers can stay relevant to those audiences? Some people travel maybe like once a year, some people travel once a quarter. So how do you stay top of mind with these folks?
Right? That is certainly a challenge. We're not one of the most frequent categories. If you think of um, past past jobs I've had, worked on toothpaste. People brush their teeth every day. It's easy to be made like remain top of mind. Whereas you're right, travel is not that often. So it's about those in between moments where we can provide additional value to our guests. And that can come in a range of ways. I think one is possibility. I currently work on our partnership with American Express and our Hilton Honors credit cards. That can be used day to day to create the possibility of a future stay. And so that's where I think we get the connective tissue that while you're paying for gas, buying your groceries, that's also helping you get to your next vacation, whatever you're dreaming about.
Yeah.
And so I think that's the possibility. We also offer things that I think tap into everyday convenience, like our partnership with Lyft. And you can get points towards your next vacation when you're booking travel and trips with Lyft, which that's a more frequent behavior. And then the other thing is providing access between those trips. And we have Hilton Honors experiences that you can bid points for a variety of things: concerts, F1, culinary events, and lessons. And so that's another way to continue to provide value and have a relationship with guests in between those stay moments.
Yeah, definitely. And then the next one is, if you could change one thing about how companies think about loyalty, what would it be?
That's a good one. And loyalty is tough because I think initially you think, well, loyalty has to be something where it's providing monetary value. And that's difficult. I know that something that a lot of customers want is future value for their current loyalty, but that value is not just monetary, and that's what's always important, is that what people want actually is very individualized. So yes, some people might value the points and discounts, but other people really might value recognition. um, I get a kick out of this. When you go to a Hilton and you walk in and see the TV, it says, "Welcome, Tara." That is so simple, but makes me feel special and have a moment. So I think that recognition and personalization goes a long way and costs little to nothing. And then the other thing, I think convenience is another real value. Time is of a resource that's very limited, and so you can think of how can we save guests time when they're traveling. And our Hilton Honors app allows for digital check-in, digital key, digital checkout, which if you don't feel like you have the time to stand online or to talk with our team members when you check in or check out, it's another option for those people who are just like in out, don't want to talk to anybody, gotta go and get on my day.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah, sometimes as simple as having a good bed. Like when I
Right?
stayed in Hilton in San Diego, my husband and I still talk about how good the bed was there. So
That's
sometimes
such a
something as simple as just, the basics.
Yeah, that's such a good point. I mean, the basic, you have to get that right. If your
Yeah.
product's not good, nobody wants to be loyal again. So you're absolutely right. That is a must before you can layer on all of these other aspects of loyalty, something that people love and want to come back to.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so we're part of the show where I will ask you some rapid fire questions. Are you ready?
I am ready.
All right, so I already told you my favorite Hilton property. What is yours?
Yeah, it's so tough. I get to travel to a lot of different properties and brands as part of my job. My number one favorite is the Waldorf Astoria in Amsterdam. If you ever have a chance to go there or have a meal or go to the bar, it's in historic row homes on a canal, and it's beautiful, and the service is just top notch.
Yeah, definitely. I checked out the Waldorf Astoria here in New York, and the renovation
The
is
renovation,
beautiful. Yes, it's so nice.
amazing. Yeah, it's such a great, great coup to have that back in New York for people to enjoy.
Yeah, definitely. All right, well, you kind of already gave some insider advice on a seamless experience with the app, but do you have any other tips for people that want a seamless stay from the moment they book to actually being at the property?
Yeah, I mean, our team members there really enjoy making a stay special. And just like we were talking about before, special can be a whole range of things. So, if there's a need that you have, a problem that you're having, talk to our team members. They are just amazing in that hospitality is at their heart, and they will go above and beyond to help you make sure that you're having the trip that you planned for. Some of the stories we get from our team members in the field, and being able to help someone who forgot a birthday and need a birthday card, just small things like that. That's why hospitality is so amazing in this digital environment, that human connection is there and is still so important.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And then the last one here is there a brand or campaign that you admire that you think is doing great work?
Yes, and it's super timely. I don't know whether to call it a campaign or an uncampaign, but what Levi's has done with the World Cup, um, and really harnessing on the moment and the fact that they can't have their brand on the stadium with the World Cup and they're not an official partner. I've loved watching that campaign and the coverage, and it's amazing the fact that it's their most successful campaign based on this insight and opportunity. Like, opportunities everywhere. It doesn't have to be an official sponsorship. It's more about recognizing the cultural moment and seeing how you could be part of that conversation. So that's a great one right now.
Yeah, definitely. I did not know that FIFA did that with the stadium names that they actually block it off and then they go with
Right?
little tape and put it on every single. I did not know that. So yeah, it's a great campaign. Well, Tara, thanks so much for joining us today and answering all of our questions.
Thank you for having me. This has been a lot of fun. Love talking about Hilton, as you can see.
Well, thanks to the audience for tuning in. If you have any questions or want to be featured yourself, contact me at barbie@mediapost.com. Take care.